Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Upgrade Your Lunch Break. It's the second time that I do it. Last week was the first time, and it was very successful. About 150 people enjoyed it, so hopefully this week will be as good. To introduce myself, I'm Dennis Fredericks from the Happiness Factory, and with the Happiness Factory, I offer in-depth one-on-one coachings for ambitious leaders. And with those ambitious leaders, I work on achieving more with less effort. That means that I focus on two things. The first thing is the effectiveness, so that you create more impact with the things that you do, and that you actually generate more waves out of the things that you do. And the second thing is the efficiency, because once you generate more waves and more impact and you start moving things better, then probably a lot of new things will come back into your direction. And then it's important that you not get overwhelmed by it. So that's where the efficiency part comes in. And every Monday at 12:15, I share one big insight with you that can help you. And that's what we're going to do right now. And the insight of this week is all about the fact that everything is just a story. Now, let me explain that. In the previous insight that I shared, I was telling about the fact that we're all struggling and that's okay. And that we can just say to each other from, you know what, doesn't go that well with me, I'm struggling, and that somebody else can reply from, I hear you, I'm struggling too. And that gives so much rest. And at the same time, those struggles will always continue. We're constantly in a place where there's another thing that needs to happen, and then yet another, and yet another, and yet another, and it never stops. And that are exactly the words that one of my clients said with a bit of disappointment in his eyes at the end of a coaching program. He said, we've done a lot of good work, and I really made a lot of progress, but I also see how much progress I can still make and what still needs to come. And it just never stops. And that's exactly what it's all about. If you are also in that place where you think that it never stops and that you constantly have to go for the next thing, then this insight can be very useful for you. Now, how did I get to this insight? Well, last week I was listening to a podcast, and it was a podcast about storytelling. And they were explaining on how storytelling works and how you can apply it for yourself. And the guy who was explaining it was not explaining it in a theoretical way. He was explaining it in a very practical way with sharing his own story. And while I was hearing his story, I suddenly realized from, well, yes, indeed, it's all just a story. We are all just continuously building our own story. So if things go very well at this moment, well, then we have to deeply enjoy it because you never know what's behind that next corner. And if things don't go well right now, and you are challenged in different scenarios, in different ways, then it's still okay because it's still part of your story. And if you proceed to the next corner, then probably it can be totally different. And that's a very nice quote around that, and it says, your next disaster is nothing more than your next big story to tell your friends. And that's where it's all about. It's all just a story, it's all just a phase. And if things go bad right now, then it's a great moment because that's the moment where in your story you can fight a dragon and where you can create that win for yourself. Now let me tell a personal story. For very long I've been very disappointed in life. And the fact why I was disappointed was about that we can create everything we want. We're living in a time frame where everything is possible, where you can create anything you want. It just needs to be clear enough what it is exactly that you want, and then you have to work hard enough for it to get it. But it's all possible. And that just felt as a a big disappointment for me, because yeah, where is the challenge in it? If everything is possible, if you really can go for it, then yeah. And I know it's a bit weird. For some people, it's also a big opportunity to go for it, and to see that everything is possible, and that you can achieve anything that you want as long as you want it hard enough and work hard for it, then it's all possible. But for me, it was a disappointment. Like from, yeah, well, I'm just doing the things that I do, and if I work hard enough and if I'm clear enough about it, then I can reach it. But with the realization that it's all just a story, then everything changes completely. Because it's not about reaching that goal, it's not about how far you get, it's about the story that you build and the things you experience. And the challenge is not in getting there, but the challenge is in not knowing how you will get there. Every corner has a mystery. Every step that you take will bring you into a new part of your story. And you don't know which parts will still need to come. And you don't know who you will meet on your path. And that's what life makes so exciting. And you can apply this on your life, but you can also apply this on anything, on a project that you're running or a goal you want to achieve in your professional life. It's still all a story. And you know where you want to go, but you don't know which path you will need to follow for it. And there's one thing you know for sure, is that it will never be in a direct way. If you want to go from A to B, it will never be in a straight line. Now, that doesn't mean that you cannot be ambitious anymore. Yes, you can still be ambitious. Yes, you can still strive for that end goal that you absolutely want to reach. But it's just that you need to be flexible in the way how to reach that. So be persistent. Be persistent about that end result. And then at the same time, be very flexible in how you want to reach it. So if I summarize it, if things are going great for you, then deeply enjoy it. Because you never know what will be your next corner. And if things are going bad for you right now, well, then it's part of your story. And just proceed to the next corner, because who knows what will be behind that. So be persistent about that end goal and be flexible on how to reach it. And if you want to apply this in the next coming week until I share next insight, well, then I can only give you one advice. Enjoy the curves and the corners that this week will bring you. Enjoy it. Bye.